Do you guys see the new Joker film?
We haven't seen it, no.
Okay. Yeah, I might check it out next weekend.
I'm probably gonna go if for nothing else other than to give the finger to all the news outlets. They're just making a big deal out of it for no reason.
Well, I was making a point, and I guess since we're on Three's a podcast, I can say it. But if there are any shootings because of the Joker thing, it's single-handedly the media's fault because they were the ones who created the controversy so that they could get hits and likes. And I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory. I don't think it's like a big plan, but it's so clear that Joker was coming out, everyone's excited about, oh, it's a dark Joker. No one said anything about incels or shootings or whatever. All of a sudden you see some like articles, BuzzFeed and stuff that are like, is Joker the incel prince who's, commanding all these, these people? And it's like, they were making all these articles. I'm like, no one thought that or discussed that until you guys made these stupid articles to get clicks. And then now it's like, oh, everyone's freaked out. Is there going to be shootings at the theaters? Like, you guys created that. I hate to say it, but no one would have thought. Yeah. Like, I'm playing a little dumb here because yes, there was the Aurora shootings, and that was tied to the guy who was a fan of Joker or something. But I just think that it's just to me, there's nothing controversial about the film. I don't understand. It's like making something out of nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing controversial about it, and I don't understand why it's stirring so much. I don't know why it's getting. Why people are having their panties in a wad.
Well, people should be excited that we're getting a Joker movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
He's one of the most beloved comic book villains of all time.
Beloved?
The Joker, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Maybe they're just mad because it's not Heath Ledger.
But they shouldn't be mad about that. He died.
Well, I know. It's like, there'll never be another Joker as good as Heath Ledger because Heath Ledger died right after that role.
Yeah, but I do have a feeling that Joaquin Phoenix would have been the next Heath Ledger Joker. The problem is that I heard that he's not going to do any more like sequels or movies or anything.
I think it's kind of supposed to be a standalone thing. But
yeah, and that's the second problem.
I don't know if anyone can replace Ledger really. Over his dead body.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure nobody can replace him at all.
No, they'll just have to be a good iteration. People are giving good reviews to Joaquin Phoenix. I think that there's always just different adaptions of things. I'm sure people, when they saw the old Adam West Batman, they probably thought no one could replace that Joker. And then Jack Nicholson, it was like, man, what a great adaptation of the Joker. And then
everybody still enjoys him.
Jack Nicholson?
Yeah.
The Joker specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never understood why. I'm like, he's not menacing,
it's an older movie.
It is an older movie.
That was back when they were still making them more comic booky.
Yeah. Well, I think the best comic book movie is Scott Pilgrim.
I'd agree that that's definitely in the top ones. That's a great one. Mm-hmm. Great adaptation.
So, but anyway.
All right. Well, welcome to Three's a Podcast.
Welcome. How are you guys today?
Us or the audience?
Oh, I was actually talking to the audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they can't answer back.
Yeah.
Today's topic is growing up magical.
This could mean many things.
To talk about my story, basically my background growing up in the magic industry. I don't know if I mentioned before, but my father was a magician. So I have a lot of years in the magic industry and around magicians and various performers. So,
various
types of performers. There was a lot of other odd acts that hung out with magicians. So
you said odd acts?
Yeah.
So, like, what type of magicians are there?
Not just magicians.
You have your typical stage magicians, where they call it stand-up. Then you have walk around, and they're the people that go around and do close-up magic at
like
parties.
David Blaine.
He's more of a close-up guy.
Or Chris Angel.
Walk around is a paid gig at like a party where the magician walks around and does close-up with people.
Yeah, clowns do that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But no, I guess other acts would be like, well, clowns, mimes,
jugglers.
sword swallowers.
I'm sorry, what?
Sword swallowers.
Oh.
Yeah, not gay porn stars, sword swallowers. So
No, yeah,
Makes me want to gag.
I'm kind of on a roll tonight.
they're kind of all in the. They're kind of all in the. It's all that same
Yeah.
category of like the circus sort of those
Yeah.
types of actions.
Hypnotists, which I'll get into that later. And if we still have time, I might talk about the Bubble Man, too.
The Bubble Man.
The Bubble Man, yes. One of the most unique acts, I think, ever to grace the Midwest. So,
The Bubble Man.
To
yeah.
grace the Midwest.
So your dad's been a magician since. I mean, how long? When did he get in? When did he start?
Well, he got into magic as a kid.
Okay.
So this was back in the 60s when he was trading. There was, cereal boxes of it. You get toys in your cereal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, occasionally they would have magic tricks in those. So he would go to school and he would trade his cereal toys for the little magic tricks. And that was how it started for him.
Oh, that's
yeah.
very cool.
And he continued. He studied it a lot. He did his first show sometime in high school. So he's been doing it for well over 50 years at this point, or at least been interested in it.
And when did he start? When did he make it a career? Did he work a day job before and he ended up quitting to do magic, or did he just go straight into it from high school, or what?
For a long time, he was working 2 jobs, doing it on the side.
Okay.
There was a period after he had been married to my mom for a while, so he would have been like mid to late 20s. He was doing it full time a little bit. So, but it's gone through cycles because, of course, he's an artist, and like most artists, we usually end up working, we end up working 2 jobs, and our art is our second job. So, but no, he's working at the Magic Emporium in Wichita. So, that's like his second job now.
Okay. And did he? When did you become like aware of? I mean, when were you? I guess. Did you just see it as like this is just your dad's normal job? Like, did you see it like, oh, my dad's going to work, or did you kind of know how? I mean, when did you realize, oh, this is not a usual profession?
I don't think it fully hit me until I was actually like in high school. Because to me, magic was just normal. It was a normal part of my life. And I assumed, I guess, other people had, knew about magicians and had that kind of stuff go on. Until I started meeting more and more people that would tell me, wow, I've never seen a magic show. And I was
Right.
like, what? Because it always felt like it was so accessible.
Yeah, I guess so. So did you? Well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that it, especially with the amount of TV specials, and I guess magic kind of lost its mainstream after like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty big in the 80s.
Right. My idea of magic, I think it went down a little bit maybe in the 90s, but early 2000s, I think because you had Chris Angel kind of brought it back into the mainstream. I feel like at a young age, like everyone knew Chris Angel because he had the TV show.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can't really think of magic because reality TV wasn't really a thing before the 90s. So magicians was always like a stage act. But before David Blaine was the first thing I saw where it's like, oh, this is a tape you can buy and it's David Blaine Street Magic. Like I remember my mom had the VHS tape or something, or maybe she recorded it on TV or something like that. But there was like an actual thing you would buy. That was the first time I was like introduced to magic in a different way where it was like a different thing. So my early access to magic or the idea of magic was like David Blaine and Chris Angel.
Yeah, David Blaine, he's super good. He does creep me out with some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
And then Chris Angel's like, yeah, some weird.
Yeah, I remember when Mind Freak was coming out, and that was the guy you heard about all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, have you heard of Chris Angel? Yeah.
I think everyone did.
Yeah. But no,
Yeah.
way back it was David Copperfield. He was.
Oh
he,
yeah, yeah.
did
Everyone
a
knows
special-
Copperfield. That's true.
like almost every year, I think.
That's
Or
true.
multiple
Yeah.
specials, because there was. It had to be close to 20 specials that he did on TV. Everywhere from making the Statue of Liberty disappear
That was insane. Yeah.
to flying to walking through the Great Wall of China.
I think, yeah. The problem with those acts, and it's the same thing, because David Blaine, even up till recently, had done some stunts like that. The problem with those really big stunts to me on TV is like, I feel like you have to be there, because otherwise it ends up being really like,
This was edited.
not even, no, not like, let's say it's believable that what you're seeing is what you're seeing. There's no editing or whatever, which I think there isn't for a lot of them, like the Statue of Liberty, but it's so big and grand that like, it doesn't like affect you almost when you're watching it on TV. That's why I think the David Blaine stuff I always liked, or I mean, the close-up magic that David Blaine and they did, that David Blaine did was more. I liked it more because it was more right in front of your face, and it was like, whoa, like how did he do that there? Where it's like, there's something about when they got so grand with like the Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
where it's like,
Well, these
it's
were,
so big, it's hard to be, it's almost not impressive.
these were also full stage shows he was doing too. So he'd do a full show, and that would be like the grand finale. Like the one where he actually did one where he escapes from Alcatraz. Also,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, like, but no, like my household names though were David Copperfield, Siegfried and Roy, Lance Burton,
Did you say what?
Uh,
Siegfried?
Siegfried and Roy. There are a couple of German magicians that
Oh, okay. Okay. Siegfried and Roy.
yeah,
Okay.
What about
which-
Penn and Teller?
Penn and Teller. Yeah. I was a little older before I started watching Penn and Teller stuff, but
Me too, actually. I didn't get into Penn and Teller till like high school. Like I didn't know who they were, and I knew the name, I guess, but I didn't ever really see their act and stuff till later. And then it's like, they were like the first guys I saw where it's like magicians are generally funny, but they were the first guys where it's like they were kind of known as like bullshitty kind of comedy, magicians.
well, yeah, I mean, magic is a profession where you're paid to lie.
Yeah, that's
You're paid to deceive.
yeah. Other than politicians.
That's true, yeah. But politicians don't admit to what they do being fake.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of like how professional wrestlers wouldn't admit that they were scripted
Mm-hmm.
up until like the 90s.
Yeah, the masked magician. Did that piss your dad off? Like, was there a big uproar in the?
Not as much as he played it up on the show.
Because he wanted it to be controversial, right?
Yes, because he was actually revealing his own tricks.
Wait, your dad is that?
No,
The-
there was a magician that called himself the Masked Magician,
Right.
and he did
okay.
a series of specials where he revealed how magic tricks were done.
Oh, okay.
And most of these were already the secrets were available pretty readily,
Mm-hmm.
or it was his own material. So
Okay.
everybody knows who the Masked Magician was, and I think they knew at the time who he was.
Okay.
So I know that probably sounds pretty disappointing that even
Yeah.
that part was kind of an act, but
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
it was
no.
his own tricks he was revealing because he
Yeah.
kept making. I watched that show recently because they had it on Netflix or something, and I was watching back on it, and he really that show. The announcer really plays it up like the science or the magic community is completely pissed and like, he's revealing all these tricks, and it's like, so I guess that was part of the act itself was the.
yeah. Well, fun fact, he actually almost did an appearance in Wichita for a middle school.
When?
This was a couple years ago.
That really is a fun fact.
They did a fundraiser, and they were going to bring him over there as it was like a goal to raise enough money for this charity, and then he was going to show up and do a show for them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the other guy, not the actual masked magician.
Mm.
So it was some odd connection that the kids made to this one particular magician.
Did your dad ever know the masked magician?
He's met him, yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you met him?
I haven't, no.
Who have you met over your time, or like at least come in contact with in some way?
My biggest names that I've met have probably been Mark Cannon, Banachek and Kirby Van Berg.
Oh, Banachek, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a he does hypnosis stuff a lot, right?
Mostly mentalism.
Oh, mentalism.
Mentalism.
Yeah, he's actually one of the guys that worked with Chris Angel on Mind Freak,
Oh.
and he's also on the new show. Except he's actually on screen.
What? There's a new. They brought
Yeah.
back Mind Freak
I don't remember the name, but Chris Angel started doing a new show.
recently.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Is it
guess I
on
missed
It's
it.
on Netflix.
within the last couple of years.
That's probably on.
It was on some cable network. It might have been A&E, like
Oh, okay.
like Mind Freak was, but
Oh yeah, probably.
but no. In this one, though, Chris Angel has an entourage of magicians.
They're all
It's-
just going
yeah.
around, a bunch of
Like-
magicians
like
fucking
it's
shit
sim-
up,
it's
raising
similar to-
hell.
It's similar to Viva La Bam. You know, we had all the Jackass guys, except it's magic, and it's him with like Banachek and all these other people that have their own different types of tricks that they do.
Man,
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's hilarious.
Damn.
I'm Chris Angel. Welcome to Mind Freak. And then
That- Yeah. What? There was one episode where he's outside of like a strip mall, and he asks a volunteer to take this big like plastic trash can, and it's like a 55-gallon, and put it over him. And so basically what happens is the trash can is upside down on the cement, right? And suddenly he goes from being under the trash can to on top of the roof. And I
Yeah, I
can't remember
remember that.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know how he does that. So
yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
that's the kind of stuff that creeps me out. And then there was the second one where he takes like a voodoo doll that this volunteer has, and he basically tells her to close her eyes and see
sounds
if she
familiar.
can feel anything. And he takes a lighter to the voodoo doll.
That's that's mentalism, right? That's just tricking.
See, that's some
But you
creepy
don't
shit.
think he's actually a wizard, do you?
I don't think he's a wizard.
No, I'm just saying you don't think there's any actual like supernatural stuff going on.
I have no idea.
Okay, well it should just be no.
I don't know.
You always say you have no idea, like as if you. But that, well, I guess that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
But
So,
he's a magician.
what does that mean? Does it
That
doesn't
Chris Angel would be the first guy to tell you that nothing he's doing is actually supernatural.
Okay, right.
So
Okay,
is he
well-
tricking? Is he like?
Well, he's fooling
You-
me, that's for sure.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. It's not real.
Okay. So basically the question would be, what is she feeling? So y'all are implying that it's a placebo effect.
well,
I don't
But if
know
she
the
does not
specific act.
know
I don't know the
what's
If he's-
specific
going on.
trick.
if he's doing some form of hypnosis, then she's probably feeling some form of heat. If he's taking a lighter to her,
He's
So
not taking a lighter
if he's taking
to
a
her.
lighter to the voodoo doll,
He's
you can,
taking a
you
lighter
can
to the
feel it. If you're in trance.
Y'all are gonna have to like actually see the episode.
I mean, because you could. There's an act that one of the local hypnotists one of the hypnotists that works the state fair
Mm-hmm.
does, where he takes a monkey and people will follow the monkey, and then he takes a spike and sticks it in the ass, and everybody feels it. Everybody screams.
Do
Like
they
they felt it?
know? Do they see the guy sticking the spike in the
Yeah.
monkey's ass? Okay, she did not know what was going on.
No,
her,
but-
her eyes were closed and she was turned around. He was doing this behind her.
Okay, but here's what I'm wondering, because is your question? I understand the question. How did he do it?
That's it.
Right. I'm just trying to make sure your question isn't that you're not trying to say, well, it is supernatural.
No,
because
I'm not
there's no
trying to
explanation.
say that it is supernatural.
Well,
at all.
I have been told that he prays to Satan every Saturday night, so that might.
You're joking.
That's a joke.
That
yeah.
was a big
Yeah.
thing with magicians that always pissed me off growing up as a Christian, is that moms and a lot of people would get real tricky about magicians, and I always thought that was like that was when I would facepalm the most about Christianity, when they'd be like they'd see Chris Angel tricks, and oh my God, he's got the devil in him. It's like,
Is it
it's
well?
like it's a trick. It's magic. It's a trick. It's not.
It is a trick. It is a trick. I wouldn't say that you would have the devil in you. I think that's pretty.
But
pretty
you know what I
absurd.
mean? That because
I
a
do
lot of
absurd.
Christians think like magic is evil or whatever, so then they think, oh, he's doing actual witchcraft or something.
It's like, yeah,
I
mean,
wouldn't. Yeah. I don't
It's
know.
not Satan. He's just using the Force.
I don't think he's using the Force either.
Well, but getting back to Evan's dad, I've seen his routine several times over the years. Not recently, but anytime I saw him do it, the last time I saw him do it, at least I remember for sure, he always does like almost a disclaimer when he's doing his acts, where he's like, you know, just so you guys know, like magic isn't real and these are just tricks. Like he has to explain it. And I don't know if he just did that because it was at the school that me and Evan went to, which was like really, really strict, crazy Christianity. And I wonder if he was just trying to make sure like the
No.
people there didn't start trying to cast a demon out of him for doing magic tricks.
Yeah.
Oh man. I
Well,
hate
he
to say
does that specifically when he does his mind reading tricks. That's
Yeah. That freaks people out a lot.
so yeah. I mean, it is a disclaimer for magic in general, but mind reading, you know, psychics have been in the mainstream for so long because people keep falling for it. So he wants to get that message out
Right.
whenever he does his tricks, because
Yeah.
you get like what's his name, the guy from Crossing Over,
No idea.
South Park named him biggest douche in the universe.
Oh yeah. I'm losing it right now, but
Anyway,
I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember his name, but him, Yuri Geller, all these quote unquote psychics out
Yeah.
there that are getting people to pay them obscene amounts of money to talk to their dead relatives, and that, you know.
Yeah, and that's where I'm always really, that's why I think it's very, I love when magicians make that clear, because now I don't think there's anything wrong with a show, because Chris Angel and David Blaine both do a thing where they do try to make it look really creepy and supernatural. They do that on purpose. For a while I wondered, I wonder how people, you know, some of these magicians, you know, think
Yeah.
about Chris Angel if he's pretending like he's actually doing magic. But I've never seen Chris Angel say, I'm actually performing some kind of voodoo, or I'm doing something supernatural. But that's also part of the act. That's what the guys do. They want it to be creepy. And so I totally respect that. But I know Chris Angel's against all that bullshit with the mind reading, the cold reading, because I saw him on a show one time. I don't know if it was some show in the early 2000s, some magic show or something, but the guy on stage was trying to, it might have been James Randi's show. So James Randi, the amazing Randy, is like an extreme skeptic or whatever, and he's the one who has the $1 million for anyone who can prove anything supernatural or whatever.
Right.
And he had a show where he would have people come on, and then he would basically explain like why, you know, but he basically he would debunk people a lot who claimed they actually had powers
Right.
or whatever. And so one of those guys was on the show, and Chris Angel was on the audience, and I don't know why, but Chris Angel's so pissed off. I don't know. I've only seen the clip out of context, but he just holds up a thing in the middle of basically at the end of the guy's act, and he goes, "There's a number written written in the middle of this envelope. What is the number or whatever?" And he keeps telling the guy or whatever, and he looks pissed off. And the guy's like trying to, I don't, you know, blah blah. And he's like, no, tell me, you have the psychic abilities. Tell me what the number is in here. And the guy like ends up walking off the show or something. It goes to commercial break. But I'm like, that was the moment when I realized, okay, Chris Angel's pissed off at these guys too, because I think they make him and other magicians look bad.
Yeah. Look bad, or look supernatural. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if I had all these magic powers, wouldn't I be out healing people instead of
Yeah.
levitating and guessing what number you're thinking of?
The mentalism, yeah, probably. The mentalism, though, is the most fascinating thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite TV shows is The Mentalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's just
show is
so-
based off of what's his name? Something Brown. Darren Brown. I figured that out recently. It's the magician. He's like a English magician. He's like one of my favorites. He did a great show called, speaking of healing people or whatever, like as a skeptic, I always thought faith healing was kind of BS. But it's never something I looked at closely into, other than, the stuff you can find online where God is telling me, Robert Smith, do we have a Robert Smith in here? Jesus is telling me that he wants your back to be healed, and we're going to heal your back. And they're like, what the hell? And then like it turns out people had written out these prayer cards. The wife takes the prayer cards, and then there's a mic on the guy, and he's like, Robert. She's like whispering to him in the mic, like Robert Smith, back injury. So then I'm like, okay, there's a lot of BS going on here. But what about the people who like really feel better and stuff? Darren Brown does a great series called Faith Healer where he takes an actor and trains the actor and shows them all the tricks. And basically, whether they know they're doing it or not, faith healers are just doing magic tricks. So it's like, that's pretty crazy to me. That's the untold world of magic.
They actually do that. Have you ever seen the movie Fletcher with Chevy Chase?
I think it's just called Fletch.
Fletch?
But yeah.
There's a scene. Actually, there's 2 movies called Fletch, which confuses people.
You know what? Is it Fletch and then Fletcher is the second one?
That might be it.
I don't know.
But there's this there's this one where he goes backstage and he's sitting there with the microphone and the cards, and he just totally embarrasses the pastor because there's this guy with hemorrhoids, and he gets the pastor to tell the guy to expose himself and show everybody his affliction.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I think I don't know, it's interesting. I mean, what do you think about that, Evan? Like how far should a magician go in conveying like they actually have some kind of powers? Do you think? Because there's obviously showmanship to it, but it's like, where's the line? Like, I think you were saying the biggest douche in the universe, that guy who does cold readings, that's a clear line. Like, you pretending you're talking to dead people.
I think really the absence of discussing it in the show is, I think it's okay to imply because people want to lie to themselves when they go to a magic show.
Yeah.
People want to lie to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you're there to see an illusion and be convinced. As long as you're not outside of it trying to convince people, or basically, saying, "Oh, well, I can change your life because I have the power to do." That's when you're crossing the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. So as soon as you start trying to influence people's lives, I think that's probably bad.
Well, and also with faith healing, the amount of people that go into trance during those, during their healing, like they're in pain, like, oh, I feel better.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've already discussed how hypnosis is used to relieve pain. And in fact, some of the exercises I went over in the previous show can be used for pain and like muscle tension, but it's not going to heal a tumor.
Right.
It's not going to heal cancer.
Yeah.
And that's why you never see a person grow an arm back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there is some ways where like hypnosis isn't really magic, but hypnosis can help people, at least psychologically.
Yeah. Well, the extent that hypnosis can help you is if you have a form of stress that is causing you to, say, have muscle tension or something, like where you're real tight, and you have an underlying emotion, it can help with that. But to the extent where people claim that it cures tumors and everything, there's no evidence really that I've seen for that. So,
well, it's always stuff that could happen by itself is the thing. It's never like when it comes to faith healing, it's never anything that, like you said, growing a limb back or something like that. But hypnosis, does this work? I know you know a lot about hypnosis. We've talked about it on an episode before.
Yeah.
Does the whole like you can quit smoking with hypnosis, does that actually work? Does that have to do with the person?
Somewhat. I've never seen it work without multiple sessions. So that's one of the issues.
That's the disclaimer.
Is a person will do it one time and claim it didn't work. And
Oh, okay.
all the therapists I've spoken to have said 3 to 6 sessions is what they do.
Okay.
And it curbs the behavior, but you still have to not go and smoke again.
Right.
So
actually, one famous story is Tony Robbins put a guy through smoking cessation early in his career, and the guy came back to him 6 years later mad because he had just started smoking again.
6 years later.
Yeah, he quit smoking for 6 years and came back and goes, it didn't work.
Yeah, that's probably because he, did it. Well, I think about it like I don't have any addiction to nicotine or smoking at all.
Right.
But I'll be tempted sometimes. in the right situation, someone offers you a cigar or something, and you're like, you're like, it's fun, live it up. So I imagine maybe they do curb the addiction part of it or whatever that impulse is.
Right.
You're still, after 6 years, you might be in a situation where someone's like, have a smoke. And you're like, nah, why not? You know, it's like,
Right.
that's on you.
Well, you got
Yeah.
to keep in mind you're still biologically addicted. Just because your mind is
Really?
telling you don't want to do it doesn't mean you're not going to set that
Oh, that's
off.
true. You can't really do much about the biological addiction.
Oh,
so
okay.
so that's just a psychological curb. Because I think was it you were telling me that what they do is they associate something bad with smoking,
Yeah.
like butt sex or something.
Well, you could, like pain or a horrible taste or,
Oh,
you know.
so they're like, what's like the worst tasting thing ever? Horseradish. Then it's like then they do it to where anytime the person thinks about having a cigarette, they like get the taste of horseradish. Like, ugh, I don't want to fucking put that in my mouth.
Wait, can they actually
Yeah.
do that?
I mean, that or grandma sagging
Is that what they
breasts or-
do? Is that what they do when they do gay conversion therapy? It's like from now on, dicks taste like horseradish.
I've actually never seen it done through hypnotherapy. So I don't have the research for that.
Okay.
We got, I want to see what gay conversion therapy actually is.
It's them trying to punch a brick wall religiously.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I would like to say my dad probably has the best magic show in Kansas.
Oh
as
yeah. Well, he's
far as
well
local
renowned, right? He
performers.
gets called. Doesn't he get calls from like famous magicians all the time for consulting?
He's consulted with Chris Angel.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Chris Angel does know him fairly well.
I mean, I guess if you've been in the magic game for what, like 50 years or something.
Yeah, well, he didn't meet him until about probably around 2008 or 9 was when he first met Chris Angel. Oh, man. And after that, it was he talks to him at least like once a week because he calls the magic shop.
What is he asking for advice on tricks, or is he asking about tricks? Basically, is that usually how it is?
Some of it, sometimes it's performance advice, which is it feels kind of odd, but it's getting to the point now where I'm trying to get him to get into magic coaching, actually performance coaching,
Yeah.
because he has all these people calling him and asking for his opinions.
Right. You might as well.
and he's not getting paid for it either. So
Yeah.
it's it's $1 million talent. I mean, a lot of the guys on America's Got Talent have spoken to him,
Really?
like called him before they go on. So
You were telling me, I think, wasn't I was watching Penn and Teller's Fool Us or something recently, and you were saying that he had consulted one of the guys on there.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I really like that show.
which it's really weird to think about how deep his influence runs now. Because growing up, it wasn't that big, but around the time I got into middle school, he was going to conventions. He was meeting all the big guys, and now he's not a household name, but he's known by all these people.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're in the business for that long and you're around, it's like there's probably a lot of people who don't do magic that long or bail out. And so if I mean, just the fact that he has that many years of experience probably makes him, someone worth talking to.
Yeah. You say, I've also seen the worst magic show in Kansas back in high school.
What was that?
And I don't know if you probably know this story by now.
I don't know. I don't remember for sure.
I was at an Easter event at church.
That's strike one.
For all the young ones, right? And they hired this clown. Now, I'm not going to say the name of the performer because
Boner the Clown.
we'll call him Boner, okay? Because he pulled a real boner with his show, but that's an old 1970s reference.
He didn't actually like pull his erect penis out.
Pulling a boner means like you
Yeah.
did something stupid, but
Yeah, Joker says that in the very first appearance of Joker in the Batman comic books. He says that in whatever comic that is. That's just a random fun fact. He
Another
says
clown.
he says I pulled a boner. So
anyway, so this guy, he shows up for this children's event, and I was in youth group, so we were all volunteering. I don't remember
Yeah.
if you were there or not, but
I do not remember this.
but he shows up and he starts doing this magic show, and that's already a red flag for me.
Clown doing magic or
Clowns and he has no enthusiasm for it either. So he does this really lame show, some of the worst magic tricks I've ever seen. But the funniest part is he does this magic trick called Spotty the Dog. And it's with Spotty the dog. Well, I'll run you through his routine. He pulls out Spotty the dog, and it's this cloth bag with spots on it to look like a Dalmatian, right? And he goes, "This is Spotty the dog. Spotty the dog really loves Jesus." And he goes, and he also claims that he can eat all of our sins away. He goes, "Can Spotty eat all our sins away?" And then he makes the spots disappear. He goes, "Did Spotty eat all our sins?" And he goes, "No, kids." And he turns him around, and there's a picture of Jesus on the back of the dog.
That's awesome.
And I lost my shit. I had to leave the room because I was just laughing so hard, and nobody else got.
So the whole point being that Spotty can't remove your sins, but Jesus Christ can.
But nobody else understood why I thought the show was so bad, I guess. Because I'm just standing, I'm like, this is terrible.
Was he just the
like-
performance of the tricks or the way he tried to relate it to the scripture? Or?
Part of it, I mean, part was just his total lack of enthusiasm. Like, I thought at one point he was just going to break down and start cursing. Because it just seemed like he totally hated his life.
Yeah.
Then I brought it to my dad later. He goes, "I just don't know why clowns feel like they have to do magic."
I'll tell you, the first experience I had that blew my mind with magic was a clown.
Really?
I was at Chuck E. Cheese's, and I was probably like 10 or 11. It was someone's birthday. And it was the classic foam ball trick. And he put the foam ball in my hand. He's like, "Squeeze as tight as you can." And I squeezed as tight as I can. I'm like, there's no fucking way he's going to get this ball out. And then I opened my hand and the ball wasn't there.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my.
So he puts the foam. It's not always balls, but it was like he had all the foam ball. I put all the foam balls in my hand, and I was sitting there staring at my hand, like really squeezing as hard as I can, like squeezing, and then nothing in my hand. So that blew my mind as a kid.
That blows my mind now. How do you do that? See, you two know. Y'all practice magic all the time.
That's not true.
Okay,
I
well,
don't even
he's
think
in the magic industry.
He knows
and
a lot
you-
more than me. I watch a lot of magic stuff.
And you perform tricks.
I did that one quarter trick, which is the oldest trick in the book. I do
I don't
little
know how
stuff
you
like
do
that.
that.
All right, well,
See? There you go.
I don't know too much about the ball thing, but it's just really good sleight of hand. And if you're an 8-year-old at Chuck E. Cheese, you're a prime target, my friend. You can convince me of anything. But the clown can save the day.
Anything.
I've also seen a lot of hilarious mishaps happen in magic, but
Anything violent? What's the biggest? Oh, I have a story that you should tell. Is the old Skrillex mix-up when you were doing audio for your dad's show?
okay, yeah.
Oh.
So I ran sound for my dad's show for about 8 years, right? And towards the end of that, it was like my senior year in high school. It was when dubstep was getting big. My dad wanted to update his music playlist, so he chose, I think it was Bangarang from Skrillex.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that there was an F-bomb.
Is there a big F-bomb
in
in
this
it?
song?
I don't
And it's
know.
just one.
Okay.
Okay, and if you know dubstep, all it does is repeat the same annoying sounds over and over again.
Yeah.
And then occasionally there's like a phrase repeated. Well, there's no lyrics in this entire song until he just goes, "Fuck you." So
Does the music stop or what? Is it like really blaringly loud?
well, it's "fuck you." The music pauses and it starts back up again. If I remember correctly, I
Okay.
haven't heard the song in a while, but nobody listened to the whole song. My brother convinced him to put this song on the show.
Did your brother know the song?
He did. He was real into dubstep when it was big.
So he knew what was going on there. He was trying to pull a fast one.
So he has me play this new song at the show, and I believe it was a school or something. I think there was kids around, and the routine didn't end quick enough for me to turn the music off. So I didn't get the cue, and all of a sudden he goes, "Fuck you!" And I just immediately shut it off.
So it's just in the middle of his act.
Like he has that whole opening,
Yeah.
and he used to have that whole song from, I think it was Bach.
Ooh, Bach.
So he had this real classical
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
That
And he wanted to change it up, remix it a bit.
yeah.
Why would he go away from Bach? Bach is fucking
I know,
awesome.
but that's just so funny though. fuck you. And Evan's like, shit, shit, shit. Stops it. That's probably worse because that means it just went silent. Was he still finishing up that part of the act?
He was like right towards the end, so it wasn't a huge deal that I stopped it because he was on cue. And I guess he had used the song before, and he was on cue enough that he didn't go that long
so there's
into
a
the song.
couple interruptions made it go a few seconds over.
Yeah,
How did he respond? Did he get? Was there a reaction?
he just kind of continued because his kind of thing is just go into denial and keep doing the show.
You gotta show must go on. Did you talk about it afterwards? Was he like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, he asked me about it. He goes, "Did you know that was in the song?" I was like, "No." It's like, that was Ethan's idea.
Well, to be fair, it's believable that you would maybe pull something like that back in the day.
That's true, but
You
I
were
mean,
pretty professional when it came to the magic stuff.
when it came to the show, I usually was.
That's great.
But no, there was also the time I wasn't here, but my dad, if you've ever heard of the, I guess this is probably the one secret I can talk about in magic. There's a prop that you use called a thumb tip,
Yep.
and it's used in a lot of scarf magic. And it basically looks like a fake hollowed out thumb that you wear over your real thumb.
Yeah.
Well, my dad lost his when he was out on tour doing some shows, I think out in Oklahoma. And he was like, he didn't know what he was going to do. So he stopped into a novelty store. And all he found was these greeting cards with these plastic hollowed out penises that he could fit his thumb into. So he goes and he buys, like, he's got to have like a dozen of these still that he's got in his, like, a collection of these penises. And he did the show with these little penis tips. And apparently they worked better than the thumb tips, but he didn't want to use them because he was afraid of accidentally leaving it out at some point.
Yeah. Well, I remember very vividly when me and Evan were kids, like 12 or 13, and we were in his basement. And I don't remember how or why, but we stumbled upon those penises, and it was just like just a bag of little penis tips, like in his dad's drawer or something. And I was like, "What the hell?" And Evan didn't tell me the origins of that, like the story he just told. I didn't hear that until like a year ago. So imagine for like a decade, I was curious as to what the hell those penis tips were in Evan's basement. I think he just didn't tell me to fuck with me or something.
That's still not as bad as the time we decided to put you in handcuffs.
Yeah. So handcuffs are a pretty typical magician's tool, right? And Evan had a pair, and they're like legit police grade handcuffs. And I said, slap them on me. And he put them on, and then he's like, he thought he had the key, but it didn't work. It was the wrong key. And he's like, I think I have it upstairs. It's in my dresser or something. And so I'm just sitting there in the basement, like, okay. He can't find it. He comes back down. He's trying to use a paper clip and all kinds of stuff. I'm panicking, and eventually he has to tell his dad. And so it's late at night, I think, too. I think it must be like 9 or 10. So they're like ready to go to bed. And Evan's parents always get like irritating about everything at that hour, So I'm up there sweating bullets in this pair of handcuffs in his living room, thinking that he's going to have, because literally I remember his dad going, we're going to have to call the police. And it just freaked me out. It horribly freaked me out. So I was sweating. I was like, oh God, I'm sorry. I don't know why we did it. And then he found a spare key or something. And
yeah. Well, I
shimmied it
remember
open.
he said we might have to saw your hands off because he didn't want to hurt the handcuffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he had such a serious tone.
Yeah.
And I was in such a panicked, mood that I was like,
I just can't think of why we put the handcuffs on, though. That's what I can't think of.
I don't know. You're a kid and you find a pair of handcuffs. What else are you going to do? Could have, if we handcuffed to each other, it could have been a good.
I think there was another
sitcom or
occasion where
something.
you put police handcuffs on too, when some cops were doing like a demonstration.
I got kicked out, or I didn't get kicked out, but they made us leave because. Well, Evan was just a guilty by association, I guess, but there was some must have been some fall event or something. I don't even remember what this was at a church or something. And we were in the back and there was police and they were like putting handcuffs on kids. Guess they don't have any other way to entertain the kids. And it's like, so they're standing there and it's like, what happened was he put handcuffs behind me and I went and I just ducked down and jumped and pulled them out in front of me. And I said, that's what I would do if I was a criminal. And then I would choke you with it. And he just goes, okay, and takes him off, and he made us leave the area.
What the heck? Oh my gosh.
And Evan was, of course, standing there laughing his ass off. So, see, I didn't think now that would be why that would be bad or why that sounded bad. But it's like, I guess I would choke you with them, and I think I started trying to choke Evan to demonstrate. Maybe that's what happened. So,
Wow.
God no.
Uh,
God no. I guess yeah, those are sort of our mishaps with magic props. My dad had my aunt my aunt cut herself on one of my dad's props one time too and had to go to the hospital.
oh.
She was messing with this wrist chopper, and she actually cut her wrist on it.
Oh, man.
It's a good thing she didn't cut
Well,
it
that's
off.
kind of her fault,
Yeah.
right? Not to
Well,
blame
yeah.
your aunt, but
Well,
she was
because
messing around with it.
It had 2 holes on it. One where you put your wrist, and one where you put like a carrot, and it'll cut right through the carrot. She stuck her finger or something through the wrong hole and cut herself.
At
I
least
guess
you
this-
didn't cut it off.
I guess to see if it worked both ways, but
That's just plain dumb.
yeah.
Any crazy malfunctions on stage?
I mean, we've had lights fall and stuff, but
Nothing. No one's gotten hurt or anything.
no. Well,
That's good.
There was the one time we set up the sound system, and like something exploded in one of the speakers, and flames just shot out of it real quick, like a
my
burst of flames.
That's awesome.
What the heck?
And
Yeah.
I remember my dad stopping and turning around, just going, "Well, I guess we're not having music today."
Was that during the show?
It was while we were setting up, just a loud pop. I'm just
That's
like,
hilarious.
That's
That sucks though. The speaker got screwed.
yeah.
Didn't you used to dabble with the fireball trick a lot in
Yeah.
high school?
There was a couple of fire tricks I tried out. Yeah.
Did you what do you think, because I didn't want to get too off, because I was thinking there's just a couple questions I still had about the whole growing up in the magic business, sort of. Is there any things that you like, kind of any fundamental things that you picked up because of magic, or like things that if you weren't, that maybe you grew up thinking a little differently because of magic? Or I know you got into hypnosis and stuff at a young age.
I think a lot of it was how the mind works, and how misdirection works.
Body. I remember
know.
you knew a bunch of stuff about body language when we were kids.
Yeah.
That always like, I always like, kind of impressed me was Evan would
Yeah.
always be like, oh yeah, like, especially with women, with girls, because you don't know
Yes.
anything about girls at that age.
Yeah.
But Evan would be like, oh, that girl over there is into that guy or whatever.
Oh
and then
my
then
God.
the 2 days later you'd find out that she was. It's like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
it was, she didn't say anything. It was just all body. Now, as an adult now, you can pick up on that stuff kind of
A
easy.
little bit, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And then I told Evan, and I'll let you finish, Evan, but this is funny, was I remember one time I started reading a book on it, and I'm like, I'll impress Evan. And I said, I learned some cool stuff, Evan, like, like if you're, if you're talking, Evan's such an asshole. I was like, if you're talking to someone and their feet are pointed towards the door while they're talking to you, they don't actually want to talk to you, they want to leave. And he's like, yeah, that's fucking obvious. You don't need a book to learn that. But I thought it was this, interesting thing.
Yeah.
No. I don't remember the name of the guy that wrote it, but yeah, there was a body language book I read when I was like 11. That taught me a
Wow.
lot. But
Yeah, because you've always, even up to this day, like because of that, you've always been really perceptive of that sort of stuff.
yeah, well, there's a lot of people reading, especially in mentalism.
Oh, yeah.
Reading a crowd, sometimes picking the right volunteer for a magic trick.
The right volunteer.
Yeah, the person that's going to be the most open to the trick you're trying to do.
Yeah, especially like hypnosis and stuff like that, or like the stuff where the voodoo doll thing you were talking about. You pick the wrong person, they might not feel anything, or they, like if you
Yeah.
picked me out of a crowd, actually I probably would be hypnotized, I think, just because I'm like into it. But like if
Yeah.
you pick somebody who's like stubborn about it or something, right? Is that something they just pick up just by looking at people? Like, oh, that's not a good person. That's not a good person. That girl's perfect. She's
Yeah.
wearing a butt slut T-shirt.
Yeah.
She's up for anything.
Yeah, well, the difference is, between that and hypnosis, in a hypno show, you typically have 10 or 20 people that you hypnotize simultaneously. And
What? Oh yeah, that's how
and
they do.
if-
It's really weird.
if they don't go under, you just have them leave the stage.
Yeah, you know what's weird about that? So my friend Trey was at, I think you know him. He was at one of the Renaissance fairs or something. This might have been in, I don't know. He lives in Colorado, but maybe it was in Kansas. Might have been the guy you went and saw recently, Evan. But he was putting everyone under, including my friend Trey. My friend Trey was totally under. But what was weird is there's some people you can tell who aren't, and they're pretending. Like, it's so weird because it's such an influential thing, and I've heard this a lot. That this happens a lot where, and I've heard there was a hypnotist on Rogan, maybe it was Manichek, but he was talking about how not everyone. He's like, can you tell when people are under? He's like, yeah, sometimes people aren't under; they're just going along with it. And he's like, but it doesn't really matter for the show. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's true, but it's like there is a difference. Some people are not as receptive to it. But that video that Trey showed me where he's hypnotized and his friend's hypnotized and there's a crowd, you can just see it's kind of weird. There's like most of them are like fully into it. And it's like, you're in a spaceship right now. You're going into space. And they're like pretending they're going into space and stuff. And then you see a couple of people who are kind of like laughing at themselves. You're like, okay, they're kind of just playing along. And then some people who aren't even, they're just sitting there like, I don't know if some people just need therapy or what. And so whenever they go under, they just like freeze up. But that was another part of it too. So you just see those stragglers at the end. It's really weird.
So
I guess that's why it's good to do a group thing, right?
Yeah. Well, some
Maybe.
people also pick up suggestions later than others.
He's going to be driving home from the fair and all of a sudden he thinks he's in a spaceship.
Well, hopefully he's been brought out of trance by the time he starts driving.
Yeah.
But no, I think I probably wouldn't have learned about hypnosis as early as I did either, because I had access to material from a guy named Orman McGill, who's known. He's like the father of stage hypnosis. And I had access to material from him that was extremely rare. In fact, some of it is, there's some videos that I was able to watch that are out of print from some of his workshops where he was teaching people.
Whoa.
So I had, and for me, it was like it just clicked, and then I studied it and kind of, just gained a deeper understanding of how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, my understanding of the human mind allowed me to kind of get into hypnosis easier. It's kind of an intuitive thing for me.
Ah.
So what has to happen to the mind for it to be brought under?
I mean, well, you have to be guided. Is the best way to. Or maybe I'll do another hypnosis show sometime.
That's true. We already did one.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, but we should do part 2 at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
good subject.
But anyway, what was your other question?
The other big question, do you ever get tired when people figure out your dad's a magician? Do you get really annoyed with people constantly asking about it or asking you, oh, well, then how's this trick done? As if you know every trick ever.
That's part of it. I mostly get asked what I know how to do, or if I can make somebody's wife disappear. That's the number one most asked question. Is,
That is
oh,
so classic.
can you make my wife disappear? It's like,
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
But I think one of the most common things anyone would tell me, though, would be when we did a magic show at a nursing home, we would pass the rabbit around so the old folks could pet it. And there would always be at least one person that would say, well, we had rabbits when I was a kid, but we ate them.
That's an old people thing?
For some, it was like every old person used to eat rabbits on the farm.
My God.
That sounds like some
You
good
know.
meat.
Sounds like some good Edens.
Yeah.
In fact, one time, this one senile old lady had the rabbit sitting in her lap,
Oh, no.
and she grabbed it by the head and was getting ready to snap its neck. Like instinctively was going to kill
Oh,
it
my God.
so that she could eat it.
How common was this? All these fucking Kansas women are crazy, dude.
She had a grip on it, and my dad had to get the rabbit from her before she
She was
killed it.
senile?
Yeah.
So she was just it was like muscle memory. She picked up that rabbit stuff.
Oh my God.
Well, speaking of which, can we talk about Rufus?
Oh, Rufus, yeah.
Which Rufus are we on now?
Are we talking about the naked mole rat?
No, his dad's rabbit's name is Rufus.
It's got to be 9 or 10 by now. Rufus is the mascot of the magic show.
Yeah, and
Rufus the rabbit, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
and they're now on Rufus 9 or 10
Whoa.
Yeah,
because Rufus does not have good luck, and about every year one of them dies.
yeah.
Whoa. Okay, wait. Okay, I'm sorry. You said mascot, and I was thinking it was like like a suit,
Like his
but
little
you're
brother.
saying it's
Yeah.
a rabbit.
It's an actual rabbit. Yeah. Well, the first
It's an actual
Rufus,
bunny.
Rufus the first, lived like 10 years, way beyond the average lifespan. Rufus number 2 scratched its eye and just looked, its eye glazed over. It looked terrifying, so we couldn't take it to any more shows.
Scaring the kids.
Oh my
So we
God.
got number 3, and number 3 was the first one ever to not be a white rabbit. So it was like brown, like a really dark brown.
Wait, did you get the white rabbits with red eyes?
Sometimes we tried to get them with black eyes.
Oh, okay.
Red's probably too like jarring or something.
It is too
right?
Yeah.
jarring. That's what makes it so
Yeah.
fascinating.
I'm with you, but there's children.
And then number 4 got mauled by a dog.
That was the one that busted something like out of sort of. It was like the dog from Sandlot or something. It was a pit bull and it broke through the fence,
Splintered the wood. Like,
like
there was a
just
hole.
fully bashed into the fence and broke it open
Well, it
and
broke
ate the
through
rabbit.
two fences because it was like behind us and to the right.
Oh, it's parallel. So
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 it-
is that
it-
diagonal thing?
Yeah,
Had to
so
go through
it
two.
broke through one fence, came around and broke through the next one.
That's a badass dog. I'm
Um,
sorry about Rufus, but that's a
yeah.
badass dog.
Yeah.
And then that one killed Rufus number 4.
Oh
And the
my
weird
God.
thing was 3 and 5 we had at the same time. Until number 3 eventually died of like boredom or whatever.
Oh, 3 died of boredom.
Yeah, 'cause-
So 3 was the one with the glazed eye.
2 was the one with the glazed eye.
What was wrong with 3?
3 wasn't white.
It
And when
needs
you-
to be white. yeah.
White shows up better in the magic in the
Okay,
show.
so he was sort of a filler until you got
Yeah.
4.
Then 4 got mauled by a dog, and then we got number 5.
All right.
And
And
yeah,
then they kill each other or something? 4 and 5? Or 3 and 5?
no, 3 ended up, I don't remember, dying of some other
Dying
disease.
of boredom, yeah.
Some disease or something. But yeah, since then, rabbits don't typically live longer than 2 or 3 years.
People don't talk about that,
Yeah.
how many rabbits you go through.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
we're on like number 10 now, and
you say 2 to 3 years?
2 or 3. That's most
Your
rodents.
dad is
Holy man.
single-handedly curbing the rabbit population.
Curbing.
Well,
I
they breed
got
pretty
into an
fast.
argument about. Did I tell you this? I got into an argument specifically about Rufus. I got into an argument with a girl.
Mm-hmm.
This was maybe I don't know a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and seemed like a really cool chick. And I started talking. Somehow we started talking about magic
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a fan, and we were talking about it and stuff. And then I said, yeah, and I started saying my friend's dad's a magician. I'm trying to drop that name, and she was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's got like." Yeah, I was like, "There's actually an interesting story. He's on like Rufus number 9." And I guess she was like a real liberal, like PETA kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had this argument with her because I was like, I don't understand what's wrong. He's taking care of this rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's taking care of the rabbits. It's not his fault that a pit bull busted through the fence and killed it. But the thing was, I lost a date over Rufus because I had argued with her to the point where I was too annoyed.
Oh my God.
I was like, what's the problem? I don't understand. Shouldn't be in a cage and all this stuff. I'm like, it would die quicker outside of the cage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what my arguments are or hers were, so I don't want to rehash the argument, but somehow that fucking rabbit lost me
Yeah.
a date. I'll say
Rabbits are a lot more pleasant than doves.
that. Doves?
Yeah, apparently my parents almost got into a fight that almost ended in divorce over my dad's doves years ago. This was
What? What was wrong with the doves?
this is before I was born, but apparently they were crapping on the walls of the apartment and like flinging the poop out of their cage. And it smelled terrible. And my dad thought it was essential for a show, and it just turned into a huge argument between them.
Man. Don't doves die a lot? Like,
Well, most small animals don't live very long.
I know that's like the old bit is that like the old joke in movies and stuff is that the dove dies.
Yeah,
They have the wedding and they're gonna throw the doves and the dove just like
Yeah.
punts
They-
like a
they
fucking-
do.
No.
But I guess they're in pocket and stuff and they're pretty
Yeah.
safe from what I've always heard. But I just think that'd be awful if you finally you have the dove fly out at the end
Yeah.
and it's just dead.
I've seen a lot of great exotic animals in magic acts, but
I hear they're pretty smart too. The doves are
Well, if they
probably
knew-
not as much as pigeons.
they were
but-
smart enough to know how to get his parents divorced, and that would be one step closer to their freedom. Flinging
Well-
shit on the walls.
That's fantastic.
the thing with magicians is they'll live alone with their tiger in in a trailer somewhere before they'll give up their animals.
Well, Siegfried and Roy didn't. Which one got bit by the tiger?
That was Roy.
He got pretty fucked up, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's like not right.
Yeah.
or
Well,
whatever.
he actually had a stroke.
That was a
Oh.
separate
Which is-
event.
It
But that's
happened
'cause of
at
that.
the same time when the
Right,
tiger.
that's what it was. He had a stroke.
Yeah,
and
a
he
lot of
couldn't do the
people.
act
A lot
after
of
that.
people. Yeah, the story that a lot of people hear still is that the tiger attacked him. But what happened was he had a stroke and was collapsing, and the tiger tried to carry him off stage to protect
Right,
him.
I remember hearing that. Yeah, was that his defense of the tiger, or do you think that's true?
Well, considering that he was having like a brain hemorrhage when they got him to the hospital, and because there was a lot of stuff that went on that a bite to the neck isn't going to leave you.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, he got really
the
fucked up.
tiger carried
Like
his
dragged him.
body and that. Okay,
Yeah,
dragged him.
picked him up and kind of carried him off the stage.
Yeah, I think there was.
Oh.
And all the people, the tiger actually got agitated because a bunch of people swarmed in to try to get the tiger off of him. And the tiger, I guess, felt threatened and it almost ended a lot worse than it did.
Well, I bet. Yeah.
But no, but yeah, I say white tigers are really cool though. There's actually
Oh, yeah, they had a
footage.
white one.
There's footage of Roy Horn riding tigers on
I've
his
seen it,
on his
yeah.
ranch. Yeah, if you want to look that up.
I was trying to see if I could find. I thought there was an image of the tiger biting him, but
Yeah, Manticore was the tiger's name.
oh man, he really looks effed up.
I've also met Branson the tiger.
Did you say manticore?
Manticore was the name of the tiger that
That's a
bit
sick
Roy.
name.
But no, I've met Branson the white tiger. That was Kirby Van Birch's tiger.
Oh,
And-
he's
and-
named after the city, huh?
Yeah, and tiger pee is one of the worst things you'll ever smell. I'm going to tell you that.
Really, it's worse than cat pee.
Imagine, well,
Oh.
it's going to be worse than cat pee because it's a bigger animal, spraying a larger amount of it out.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Oh man.
Cat pee is awful.
but yeah, but Kirby Van Birch is, that's kind of a sad case, but
Mm.
Wow.
yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Any?
We have any more questions or?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Oh, I was going to tell you about the Bubble Man.
Ah,
Yes,
yes, the Bubble
absolutely.
Man.
The Bubble Man. The Bubble Man was this old man that looked like Santa Claus.
Dressed like him or just looked like
Just
him?
looked like, had a
Okay.
huge beard, but a pretty big guy. And what he would do is he had this whole act where he just used bubbles, did tricks with bubbles. Not even necessarily magic tricks.
Really?
Like he was putting people
Yeah.
inside of bubbles. Like his
Oh,
entire
okay,
gig
yeah,
was
yeah,
just,
that's pretty cool.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
really interesting guy.
You met him?
Yeah, I mean, he was fairly close with my dad because he was part of the Wizards of Wichita, which is that's the IBM International Brotherhood of Magicians. That's their chapter in Wichita.
Oh, okay. They have different names for the different chapters.
Yeah, yeah, they were he was a member of the Wizards, and so was this one character he called himself Magic Bubba. He was this old black guy, and he made all of
course.
his own props.
Really?
I guess it was a real ghetto show. I never actually saw it, but he was an interesting guy.
Bubba the Magician.
Yeah.
Huh?
Actually, we can do an honorable mentions of, I guess, magicians that have died.
Oh, so the Bubble Man died.
Yeah, he died.
paying homage to him.
Several years ago. Yeah,
Man,
Magic Bubba passed away. I think this past year.
he blew his last bubble, huh?
There was the old president of Wizards, Maurice Lowe, which I don't know. I mean, he was basically like the Yoda of the Wizards of Wichita.
Wait, Maurice.
Maurice Lowe was the guy's name.
Ah,
Mm.
man.
But one of the really impactful one was Crunchy T.
Sounds like you're just making stuff up now, but
I know. Crunchy T was one of the most iconic clowns. He was a member of the Wizards, but he was the most iconic clown in Wichita for a long time. Unfortunately, passed away with a brain tumor back in, I think, around 2008. So,
Oh.
yeah. But yeah, but these were the magicians I knew real well. But they all got old, and so
I have a one thing I would say is next time you reveal to someone about Bubbles and he dies and that he's dead or whatever, you need to say, like, I hate to burst your bubble, but he passed.
he'd probably think that was hilarious.
That's what we love about Bubbles.
Yeah, the Bubble Man.
The bubble.
It'd be
man.
great to see Bubbles just like encase himself in a bubble and just float off.
He
Just
ascends into
ascend.
heaven.
Yeah, he just ascends into heaven on a bubble.
What kind of magic tricks did he do with his bubbles?
He just blew really big bubbles, small. Like he just did weird stuff with bubbles. Like he could manipulate bubbles in
okay.
ways you cannot imagine.
Wow, that's so okay.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Let's see here. Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I'm
in
full of
memoriam
stories and we
section.
can go on all night. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
You said the memorial
the-
section.
I'm just saying this is
okay.
like the memoriam
Yeah,
section.
I mean,
of it.
Everything from the guys I knew that have passed away to the 14-year-old that headlined for Jeff McBride in Vegas. So
a lot
Wow.
of dead magicians, I noticed.
Dead magicians.
you
Yeah.
know what?
Guess so.
Yeah, I mean, because there was that golden era, and now they're all getting old.
Right.
You know, like David Copperfield
Yeah.
probably got 5 to 10 years left with his rough lifestyle.
He didn't look too bad. He was on an episode of Fool Us recently, and he looks the same as he did
Really?
about 10 years ago.
He seemed like he was. I heard he wasn't doing too well with it.
Well, it might be one of those guys that doesn't reveal. I'm pretty sure he has like hair plugs and like dyes his hair.
Oh
'cause
yeah, he's very egotistical.
I've heard that.
He's got a huge ego.
Oh man.
You just look at that head of hair on Copperfield, and you're like, "There's no way. There's no way his hair wouldn't be gray. It's like pitch black."
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't mean to criticize Copperfield.
Maybe he's, eats his fruits and vegetables.
Maybe, yeah.
God.
Well, closing
Anyway.
statements.
I don't know.
I don't have anything interesting to say about magic other than like just keep in mind that they are tricks. You know, there's not wizards out there casting spells, but there's no witchcraft, there's no Satan. Even if people try to make you believe it, and any other magician knows how to do those tricks and will tell you that they're tricks. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I
had
do
to,
not.
sorry, I had to do the skeptical thing, but
No, you're fine. I do not believe that people performing magic tricks have the devil inside them. I think that's really pretty absurd.
okay.
So
Alright.
yeah. But
You want to
Well,
close out?
I'm gonna say magic is it's an amazing industry that has kind of provided me with a unique life that I don't think very many people have ever been able to experience. And it's also a dying industry, so if you're interested, we need more young blood in the game.
well, there you go.
You know, we need a new era.
Yeah.
Of Mac, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah,
So-
you know, I guess in closing, you know, it's magic. You know, magic for me has been a wild ride. I've been surrounded by a lot of great people. But anyway, yeah, this has been Three's a Podcast.
Actually, sorry. Before you do that, I do have a couple announcements.
Okay.
So, thank you guys very much for watching. And then, what are you gonna do next week?
What do you mean? Oh,
is
what
your
topic?
Yeah.
Next week. I'm going to talk about a very specific case.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been in the news a little bit, so I'm sure people heard about it. I hope this won't be too late.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to break down the full story of. I guess I'll just drop a hint a little bit, but it's a family adopts this daughter, 6-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out to be a 22-year-old killer.
Okay.
Okay, actually, she's not a killer, but it turns out to be a 22-year-old with dwarfism.
Okay.
And it's a really terrifying, creepy story. And I was enamored by it, and I read the whole thing, and so that'll be next week's topic. I
man.
want to dive into the story.
That sounds great. Okay.
In any way I can sneak a midget into my turn, I do. So.
All right. And then a couple announcements is I think this is our 29th episode, right? So you're
Coming up on the Big 50.
The big 3-0.
Sure. After the 30th episode, we have a YouTube official Three's a Podcast YouTube channel that we'll be doing, and it'll be like clips and highlights, and you can find all the other full episodes on BitChute, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. And then the second one is we are affiliated with it's a guy named The King's Courier, and I did like a short film. The link will be in the description, and he just shares our podcast on his website. So I told him we'd do the same. So, but anyway, I think that's it. I'm the James,
I'm Matt.
And I'm Evan.
and this is Three's a Podcast.
I think Evan did the best like gusto on his. Oh, I was holding the coffin and I gotta go pee like a racehorse.
Yeah.